Dude, I've listened to it like 30 times.
Okay,
Like,
the tears are real, guys.
I'm obsessed with it. Dude,
It happened. The tears are
I've
real.
been crying listening to it. I sent it to you. I was like, listen to this and don't cry. Like, I freaking dare you to try.
The television screen is the retina of the mind's eye. Whatever appears on the television screen emerges as a raw experience. Therefore, television is reality, and reality is less than television.
Wow, you look like a dad today.
I do. I feel like a dad because I'm really happy to not be around my kids right now. This is my escape.
What are they up to today? Just nightmares?
Just like being rude. That's basically what I'm doing all day.
Are they still coming down from the
Yeah, I mean,
devil can?
yeah, but we can use the I'm sick card only so many times until it's like
It's
like, is it just that? Like, why
are
don't
you
we
just
learn?
are you just an asshole?
Yeah, just like, come on. It's just the bickering has hit an all-time high between the boys. I'm like, oh yeah. I mean,
So
we're all brothers. We know.
So today, this is not normal behavior. Today, Hawkins and Dodger got in like a full-on like yelling hitting match. I was like, oh,
Ooh,
dang.
that's
I
not
was at church
fun.
though, so I missed it.
Any blood?
Yeah, I totally missed it.
Oh, okay.
I was praising Jesus. They were killing each other at home.
It's either happens when you don't praise Jesus.
The heathens.
Incite violence. Bloodshed among family members.
As opposed to that, my what was it? Nicole needed just a little time, so she came upstairs to just get her head reset. And Jamie went to the kitchen, grabbed her cup, filled it full of ice, and poured 2 Coca-Colas for her, and walked it right up to her and brought it to her. And Nicole just like broke her heart in half. She was like, "Oh my God, he's taking care of me. This is so nice."
Yeah, no, that didn't happen today at my house.
Yeah, my kids did not do anything nice for me today.
Though, what is it? Charlie, she went out in the backyard and was like, "I want to play with water balloons in the water." And I'm like, "Dude, it's a little too cold, and I don't want to get out the water slide, and I don't want to do all that."
50 degrees.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, okay, like I don't know, like she has like no temperature gauge in her head, I swear. But she went out and played for a little while. Then I came out and she was a little dirty, so I grabbed the hose and was hosing her off. And she went back out in the grass, found a lump of dog poop, and just looked at me and stepped in it while she stared at me. I was like, what did I just witness? That was the most power move I've ever seen in my life. Now get over here. It was something else. Jamie did something very similar when he was very little. I peeled a banana for him, and same thing. He dropped it on the ground, then looked right at me and just stepped on it. It was so just like, oh boy, okay, here we go.
Their eye like twitches as they like squish it deeper into the grass.
Yeah,
you're like hyper aware of the fact that you have like a wooden spoon in the kitchen and you're wearing a belt, and you're like, do I believe that this is the appropriate response?
Ren, little bunny foo-foo, he's coming for us.
Oh, I know. Yeah, playing all scenarios in your head. You're like, if I start, maybe I can't stop.
The gateway drug cannot start.
All right, audience. I mean, look, me and Ren, we grew up with getting spanked. All right, Ren, what was worse, the painter stick from Home Depot or the little bunny foo-foo?
The little bunny foo-foo, yeah. So it was a spanking stick shaped like a bunny with like a cute little paw. And I think it was for, what was it actually for? I think it was for like, you like put it on like your burner or something.
Yeah. So what it was for was you would reach in to grab the oven rack, and you could pull it out, and then you can get whatever you're cooking. And then the ears were in a V shape, and you use that to push it back in. I'm 90% sure that's what it actually was for, but Mom could have just been lying to me.
No, that makes so much more sense, because I've seen the stick you're talking about, and I was like, what is this, and why is this in your kitchen?
Yeah, I don't get it. Dad put it in that glass case and then hung it on the wall. I don't know.
A notch for every spanking it did.
Yeah, like this looks like it has more utility than just spanking butt cheeks.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, yeah. So audience, this is what happens when you when you spank your kids, they turn into podcasters. So
And
let's,
they air your dirty laundry.
Yeah, air grievances on recording. It's funny because like I remember one of the last times I got spanked with it. Like it was like like you kind of like smile because like you're doing something bad and like you have this like cute little thing that's gonna spank your butt, and then when it spanks you, all the fun goes away. And I feel like I remember like the last time it was used on me, and I was like, never again.
this
Don't
will
live my life.
not happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Parents stop spanking you about the time they realize that you're about ready to just turn around and punch them in the face.
Yeah.
That was their moment.
This kid is old enough.
Dude, my kid's 9. I feel like he's almost like 14. The way he's sassy and he's got
Not enough bunny foo-foo.
yeah. I need to go to the
Corporal punishment.
Yeah,
is the answer.
yeah.
That's the takeaway. That's the takeaway from this podcast.
yeah.
The letters are pouring in already.
CPS, we love you. Also,
Oh man. Yeah, seriously. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think we spanked our kids for like a week, and then Ali was like, "I wasn't spanked. I don't want to do this." I was like, "Wait, what? Wait, what do you mean?"
I was spanked all the time.
We don't spank, but sometimes I miss it. It seems easier, but I don't know.
Yeah.
so my oldest kid has had like this really terrible GI thing going on. We've been like, it's been going on for like 2 months. We've been going to like doctors and specialists and all sorts of stuff. But he gets like really bad stomach cramps and then has like diarrhea. All right. And it's just, it's like multiple times a day, like 6 to 8 times a day. And the stomach cramps are like pain level 8, 9, 10. Like he screams, like it's terrible. So today I thought it would be funny to show him the clip from Dumb and Dumber.
Yes.
And he's like, he sat there and watched it and he was like, I'll bet you that didn't feel very good. And I was like, oh, that didn't land quite the way I thought it. I was like, oh, I guess that was a pretty insensitive dad moment.
You're like, man, he could really use some like GI medicine, some digestive like powder. What could? Yeah, doesn't see the humor in it. That's funny.
Yeah, he was just like, what? Why'd you show that to me, Dad?
You create one of those core memories in Inside Out. I don't know what color it is, but but it's there in his head now.
Wow.
Oh gosh. How was y'all's Halloween? Did it go well?
I think maybe that's why I'm like struggling today. Like I think I just ate so much candy that my like soul is like mad at me. I ate so much chocolate, dude. Like, okay, so here's where I like proud of myself, and I fell short in one area. But like, okay, I was like, this Halloween, I've been reading like you just hear about like hard candy and how horrible it is for your teeth, and like some people just like I never eat hard candy, only stick with chocolate. So I was like, all right, chocolate only, but I ate like a gallon of it. So I need to find that sweet spot right in between. But like, dude, I couldn't even like I looked at like all the wrappers after I ate a bunch. I was like, someone put me out of my misery, dude. Like, what have I done?
Shoot me now.
Yeah, but I didn't eat a single hard candy, so I win there, I guess.
There you go.
Yeah. My vice is not candy. I have other vices.
Yeah.
So so Halloween usually doesn't level me out, but we went down to my parents' house and my dad's just been doing like Halloween decorations forever, like 2 decades at this place, and he's just slowly built up a reputation for being that house. And so people will drive from other parts of town. They're like, oh, I wonder if that house is decorated again this year. And they'll like tell us, like, oh yeah, we came from, remember that one year when everything was just on fire, and it's like, yeah, that was a good year. We know which year they're talking about. So this was a fairly average year as far as decor. I did it because my dad was really busy this year. So I went down and set it up, and I didn't do anything super special, but it was up to par.
Nice.
And so we got 70 trick-or-treaters, which is a whole lot better than most places. But once again, this is like word of mouth. There was nobody out this year. It was weird.
It was the opposite here.
Really?
Yeah, there was like 30 kids all just in clumps, just walking down this road over here. And I was
That's
like, dude,
great.
Halloween's back. Like, it felt normal again. It was
That's
really
nice.
Cool. At least in this neighborhood.
Yeah, no, what was it? We were a little under today, Jamie and I went out and knocked on doors, and there was probably 15, 20 kids going around the neighborhood. But we went up to all these houses we would knock, and they're just like, "Hey, you're like the first kid I've seen all night, so you just grab whatever the hell you want." So Jamie's like, "What?" And I have it's really funny. So when you tell Jamie, like, "Hey, grab a couple," in his head, he's like, "Okay, so two." But in their head, they're like, "No, I want you to grab like handfuls." And so I had to keep telling people, like, "Hey, you need to give him a number," or like, you have to give him like directions. Like, if you just say a couple, he's just gonna grab two, and he's like, "No, that's all I can have because he's a rule follower." So, so I'd be like, "Just tell him he could take 20," and then he would go through and grab a handful. But no, went pretty dang good. We actually have a couple neighbors. They make little like treat little kits with their kids' names on them from all the kids in the neighborhood. And so we went up to those places. And they're like, "Jamie, I got your kit for you," and all that stuff. So,
That's sweet.
but we're the lame house that we just put the candy bowl out, and we're just like, just grab whatever you want.
Yeah, those are fine with me.
Yeah, you would, Ren.
It's rough because like Nicole loves dressing up. She loves Halloween, but as soon as we got dogs, they just bark their heads off all night whenever they knock on the door. We're just like, and finally one year she was like, "All right, I'm done with that." And so yeah, we just put the bowl out, and we decorate our house up, but not in crazy, but enough to make it look like, "Hey, you can come here and it's gonna be fun."
Well, Knox this year, he really wanted to be Ghostface from Scream. And I was like, okay, pretty good. And then last year, I don't know if you guys have seen the Jordan Peele movie Nope, but there's a scene in that movie where, how do I not blow this? Okay, the character that Cash is in the movie Nope. No spoilers. Yeah.
The unidentified object of a person, potentially.
So there's probably a ton of people who haven't seen that movie, so don't get the reference, but it actually made Cash's, like, every house that Cash went up to, everyone commented on it. They're like, "Ugh," or like, "Whoa," or like one guy like was just like, "Holy crap!" Like, it scared him. And stuff. But this is what he was for Halloween. I'll show you first.
Yeah. Oh Jesus! That's so good, man.
Yeah, that's uncomfortable.
So yeah, it's really weird. And then he had a different mask. He was like kind of switching back and forth. So I had that mask on my hand, and I was like raising it up high, like over like the edge of a car, like and like being super creepy. One person like kind of looked back. Yeah, anyways, we had a good time.
Were you guys creepy Halloween costume kids? Because I wasn't. I was not a fan of like fake blood and like plastic masks and all that stuff. There's a certain smell of a plastic mask you put on Halloween. Like that smell really makes me like, oh, like I don't want to smell that. Yeah, I always try to go for like superheroes or like clever ones.
I always did movie or book or video game characters that I thought were cool. Like I did. Did you ever see The Shadow, Alec Baldwin? I did The Shadow one year.
Nice.
Which is like I don't know, it's kind of like Batman meets The Crow, somewhere in between that. Like, but it's like noir. Like actually, like a pretty solid comparison is in Across or Into the Spider-Verse, the Nicolas Cage black and white guy with the trench coat and the hat, that kind of look. Yeah, I did that one year. I was Frodo one year before the movies came out.
I feel like I've seen a picture of you in that Frodo costume now that I think about it. That sounds familiar to me.
My go-to is the hunter. I just put hunting clothes on. And then
like blaze orange or like
sometimes
or like camo.
Like anything I can find.
Or like blade hunter. You're like wear a trench coat and like carry a sword.
like waders,
maybe
trousers, and
maybe
boots.
Put on your mini skirt and K-pop demon hunter. Like what kind of hunter are you talking about?
Speaking of, I saw so many kids dressed as K-pop demon hunters. I was like, this reminds me of that year when every girl was like Harlequin from Batman. I was like, oh, this year's K-pop. It's kind of funny.
Or the Joker from Dark Knight. I remember that phase.
Totally.
Yeah, everyone was the Joker from Dark Knight.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Every year from here on out, though, I'm stealing Cash's alien mask.
It's a good one.
Smart.
Yeah.
Well,
Smart. Terrifying.
Wait, there's an alien in that movie?
Oh, sorry. I mean, it's just a weird looking mask.
Dude, spoiled. Oh my gosh. As an adult now, as a parent, I usually end up in a animal costume of some sort, like a bear or a tiger. Like that's usually, for some reason, I end up like that. Jamie dressed up as, I think his name is Puppet from Five Nights at Freddy's. He's got a really freaky mask, and he's in this black like bodysuit with these white bands around his arms and legs. And then I went as Freddy Fazbear, he's a bear with a top hat and a bow tie.
Nice. There you go.
So I didn't know anything about the character, but Jamie thought it was really fun. And then I couldn't find the top hat at one point for when we actually went out trick or treating. We went to like a little downtown Oregon City thing, but then I lost the hat. I couldn't find it, so I was just a gentleman bear for the rest of the night.
You know, for this episode being released really close to like Thanksgiving, I feel like we're talking a lot about Halloween.
That's the problem. That's the problem. We don't think ahead when it comes to when we record.
So we're recording this on daylight savings time, and I'm tired.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. No, my kids woke up like, they wake up pretty early anyways, but yeah, today was like 5 a.m. and I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, when it started getting dark at like 4:15, I was like, oh yeah.
Welcome to seasonal depression.
Why does it feel like I'm in the movie The Ring?
Yeah, it's funny because it's true.
Yeah.
Wait, Ren, have you picked out your seasonal depression video game yet?
Yeah, I haven't bought it yet, but we're gonna get Super Mario 3D World, Bowser's Fury.
Oh yeah,
dude, it's multiplayer. Looks freaking awesome, and it's like $38. I was like, okay, that's a good investment for boredom.
Yeah.
What was that? I heard good things about that new Donkey Kong game that came out. It was what's it called?
I don't have a 2 though, nor do I have $800.
It's also funny because it's true.
Yeah. Actually.
Anyways, buy me a coffee. Anyways.
This holiday season, Universal Pictures brings you a very special motion picture experience. An American Tale. The story of one family's journey to America who got lost along the way. Five-O! A Don Bluth film, coming this Thanksgiving.
Papa!
So anyways, there are no cats in America.
In a world where there are no cats in America. Okay, actually, I had an idea. Since this is the second installment of Don Bluth, the deep dive of the man, I actually wanted to I have something written down here about the time between since we last talked about one of his movies.
He's got his dad reading glasses on. So.
Yeah. Actually, this is my anti-migraine vision. So the period between the release of The Secret of NIMH, which came out in July of 1982, and the beginning of production for An American Tale, which is 85, was a time of both critical success and significant financial hardship for Don Bluth and his team. So between 1982, The Secret of NIMH, Don Bluth's first independent feature film after leaving Disney, was released to wide critical acclaim. Edit that, make it better. With Secret of NIMH, wasn't a massive box office hit initially, but it performed well in the video market and solidified the studio's viability. I didn't know this, but apparently Don Bluth and company went on like a side quest of video game development. And I think you mentioned this Dragon's Lair game last time we were talking. I had never heard of anything about that. But as I come to kind of read more about it, like, because they did that and hit success with that, it helped pay like back debts from production issues with the other films and stuff. And I was like, that's so interesting, like how it all kind of worked out for Mr. Bluth himself. But
so, we were talking about Xanadu and you're like, what? Wait, they work on Xanadu? Similar thing. He had just barely opened up his Don Bluth Studios. Everyone was working in his garage. And they were working really, really hard on NIMH. Mm-hmm. And someone came up and was like, hey, we got this like 1 minute sequence. Do you want to just animate it? He's like, what's it about? And they're like, it's kind of like this roller disco thing. And like, just make whatever you want. So he worked by himself and just drew out a 1 minute long sequence of like little birds chirping and cute love scene thing. And then he gave it to them. And like people loved it in the movie. They like stood up and cheered in the movie premiere for that sequence, and he got like enough money to like keep the studio going a little longer.
That's pretty awesome. So yeah, that was interesting to learn about. And then shortly after bankruptcy, Steven Spielberg enters the picture, approaches Bluth with the property that would eventually become An American Tale. And then they got to work and they just formed this really cool relationship with Amblin Entertainment and really saved his butt.
So Spielberg originally tried to pitch it to Disney and Disney turned it down.
Well, I found that all interesting. And, you know, what came from this film was, you know, this is before Land Before Time, and then before, I don't know, it's cool how it just kind of like got him out of this giant hole that he dug himself in. I think I read a little bit about how like Bluth and even some of his partners like put their house mortgages like up for sale, and like they were just like selling everything they could to make this work. And in the end, it all did. It's really cool. But we're not quite to that point in his life yet. But I just wanted to kind of mention that stuff, just to kind of, I want to really deep dive, well, snapshots through his life. So you had never seen this. You watched it with your kids, it sounds like. What was the vibe? Did they, I mean, obviously, other than the music.
Never say never, Ben.
Never say never. Okay.
My kids thought it was fine. I thought this movie was really boring.
Yeah.
I really didn't like it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was kind of like, and I was trying to sort through it, and I was talking to Paige about it. I was like, I feel like the story is powerful. The message is cool, stuff like that. And like the animation is great, though I'm getting like motion sick watching Don Bluth characters move. Like there's just so much movement.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
constant. And it's really high quality, and it's in between really well. So I just feel like it's just like they're constantly moving their whole bodies. And I have stories about why that is the way that is, like why that's ingrained in his animation style. But I also this week watched Tron Ares, and I watched
dude.
We
We have to talk about that later.
Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, the first one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, these movies, the pacing is so tight. It's just so tight, and it's like the whole movie you're engaged, and there's dumb moments, and the script in Tron Ares was pretty lame, but like the visuals and the concept of the movie like carried it. But then you look at like Spider-Man, and that movie is just like good. All around, everything about it is good. Like the animation, the script, the characters, how humorous versus how serious it is. The message is the way they portrayed family stuff, and it's just constantly like gripping and funny, and like it's so well paced and animated and stuff. And then comparing that to this film, it was really hard for me to continue my thesis that like maybe this is good and I just don't get it, or I'm not used to it. Maybe the movie just wasn't actually that good.
Me personally, I think this movie does have a lot of problems with the way it flows. I feel like there's a lot. Basically, I feel like the main plot of the story of Feifel getting lost from his family and him trying to find them, I feel like that storyline is almost, I feel like when they were making it, they were like, this is really simple. We need to tack on all these extra things and things that he needs to, you know, overcome. And we need to bring in all these side characters to make things interesting and everything. I feel like the movie goes on all these little detours, like just jumping into like, oh, now we're going to see Tony fall in love with Bridget. Okay. Oh, now he's going to go to this work camp for like 30 seconds and then he's going to escape. And now we're going to go to this, you know, I feel like it just diverted a lot. And it felt like the movie wasn't streamlined at all. So I'm kind of with you, Scott. This movie really wasn't very impressive to me. I'm not really interested in watching it again, but there's some good stuff about it. But yeah, I feel like the storyline just isn't focused enough for me.
I think for me, like, this is a perfect film. No, I'm just kidding.
I ruined my childhood, guys.
Yeah. No, okay.
Couldn't help himself.
So the movie starts, and I got like overwhelmed with just like nostalgia, like love. Like I was like basking in it, like the first like 5 or 10 minutes, and you know it fades off, whatever. But like I was like, James Horner, like this soundtrack is like putting me into a time zone, like a time machine. I'm going back to when I was like probably 3 or 4. Like I remember this being on VHS. I don't know if we had a copy, but I think our Nana, Grandma Jensen, had a copy. And just these little like weird little details about the movie just came back to me. Like once I see it, like I remember that, or like I found that to be annoying, or that was really weird, or oh, now I get why they're doing that. Oh, the cats are Nazis. Oh, they're Jewish. The pogroms are like infiltrating their home, and that's why they're moving to America. And just, you know, just as an adult, you just catch all these different things that you have no idea why you're watching it when you're a kid. But yeah, I was transported, and like the nerd in me, like when I saw that it all took place in 1885, I was like, okay, I'm gonna like I'm gonna see what's accurate and what's not. I'm gonna deep dive into the history of New York and do all this stuff. And I did a little bit, but yeah, I enjoyed it. But as the movie went on, it just kind of like got staler and staler. But yeah, to your point, just like the pacing, it's just like out of touch nowadays.
So I think the thing that I kind of came to, I don't know, I guess my working theory is that the main character, doesn't change. He doesn't grow. And the movie itself, it's kind of like an Oliver Twist, that kind of idea. Like there's an innocent little perfect being that gets thrown into like the horrible underbelly of society. And he's just been dealt a hard hand his whole life. And he stays resilient through it. And that's like awesome, but then as a message by itself, but then there's like nothing to carry you through the movie other than just watching, oh, like everyone's ignoble. Like no one is good in this film. Like everyone around him just does dumb things. And like
He's just being led by a bunch of lost people who make dumb choices.
And so it's like, oh, he gets to escape Russia to come to America, and America's the land of hope, but America's not the land of hope. There are cats in America, and the streets are not paved with cheese. Alone, and he's sad, and like, oh, he runs into someone who's like actually, the cat boss pretending to be a rat, and he's just trying to make a buck, and then they like get the cats pushed out and stuff like that. But that plot point doesn't. It's like it just kind of happened, and it was like, oh, it's Fievel's idea. Okay, I guess.
Yeah.
And then it's like not until the last quarter of the movie that anything actually happens other than just like random events that he sees. Mm-hmm. And he's just sad and alone and innocent through all of it. And then it like ends and you're like, so now they're in America and it's like Russia and they're still poor and happy. But I guess there's no cats in the immediate vicinity because they got shipped to China.
Yeah, there are still cats. They're just not.
Let's be clear.
Yeah.
I own a cat.
Yeah.
100 years later, there are still cats in America.
Yeah, I promise.
Well, I saw one thing online that just about the argument about kind of, I think what you're talking about, but like the fact that they don't explicitly say that they're Jewish. I mean, there's a scene where like they have like Hanukkah, and that's kind of in the background, but like they don't say they're Jewish, and obviously they don't specifically say that the cats are Nazis.
You mean the hound dog cats?
Yeah,
that are like,
yeah, exactly. Those evil smiles.
Do you think Don Bluth is a cat guy or a dog guy? Because this is the second evil cat that he's animated from here in Secrets of Nim. So I don't know if he's got an out for cats.
No, he's a mouse guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a mouse guy.
A rodent guy in particular. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
I had one note here. I think in Fox and the Hound we were saying like Todd is you, Harrison. Dude, you are Fievel. Like Fievel, you were Fievel when you were a little kid. Just like so innocent. You even had like the same hairdo at one point. And like I just remember like in the moment when I was younger thinking that. And it all came back to me when I was watching this. It was so
cool. I'm the sad little mouse always looking for my family.
Well, one thing you said, Scott, because there was small changes that Fievel does go through. One of them is in the beginning, his hat doesn't fit, and at the end, his hat fits.
Oh yeah, because his ears got stronger.
Exactly.
Not because he grew up, but because
his ears.
He grew some ear muscles.
Yeah. But there is a part. You remember where they're walking up the rope, and he's like, "Oh, is that a fish?" And then he interrupts everyone. He's like, "Oh, are those birds?" He's just he has no idea why he's leaving, where he's going, anything. He's just doing what his family's doing.
Yeah, that's my child, by the way, in real life.
Yeah.
I'm like, smile at everybody. Yeah, let's keep going.
And then there's a part where he turns around and he goes, bye. And he's kind of like saying goodbye to his, like, the last bit of his innocence. And then he goes into the transportation ships. That scene where, like, the ocean just almost kills everyone. And then he gets scared for his life. And there's another part in the movie where, and then at the very, like, he's so optimistic the whole movie because that's what his dad taught him. And there's a part where, like, he loses all of his hope when he's in the
orphan.
Yeah, the orphan. Yep, exactly. And he finally loses, like, that glimmer of hope. And then he gets it back in the end. But, like, I was like, okay, he does go through some sort of arch, but, like, I just wanted to point that out because he doesn't not change, but it's not very drastic at all. And he's so naive to everything going on.
I feel like he lost hope way too late in the movie, by the way.
Yeah.
Like so they do the great mouse thing where they chase the cats into the water. He gets separated and he ends up with all these other orphans. And then that's the moment where he's like, you know what? You're right. My family's not looking for me. No one cares about me, blah, blah, blah. And then the very next scene he finds them. So I don't know. I feel like
It was like the
I feel
last 5 minutes of the movie.
yeah, exactly. And I'm like, I feel like that should have been moved like 10 minutes ago. Like, I feel like he should have lost his hope way earlier to make this a lot more impactful. But I will say that scene when, so all those other orphan kids are like bullying him and he loses hope and he just curls up under a bunch of dirty hay. And then when the camera is zooming out and showing all the other orphans that are just abandoned and, you know, they're out in the rain, they're curling up under anything they can find, I was like, all right, that got me. Like, that one hit me a little hard. I feel like him losing hope happened way too late in the movie. I feel like there's a lot of diversion in the plot line. I don't know. I feel like it wasn't, I feel like this movie just needs to be cleaned up, you know? Like, I feel like this is like the first or the second draft of the story.
So I've been reading Don Bluth's autobiography, and I just made it to 50% of the book just before coming to this. And they're in Don Bluth's garage working on Secret of Nim. I'm really interested to see his take on what he thinks of the production and, you know, reception of the movies that we've talked about now, which I'm sure I'm going to get to starting tomorrow, starting to read that. But I feel like the animation quality in these movies is insane, and they absolutely are on par with, or at sometimes better than Disney's. Like, I agree with that. I agree with Don Bluth, and I've become very sympathetic to Don Bluth, his personality and stuff, as I've been reading about his life and the choices that got him to where he was and his internal struggles and things like that. It's this interesting juxtaposition where I'm simultaneously incredibly impressed with his movies and underwhelmed by them. And I don't know, it's like the more I know, it's like the more I feel like I am impressed because I'm seeing under the hood or behind the curtain or whatever metaphor you want to use there, while simultaneously seeing the end product and going, this could be so much better if it were done by Disney and you were in charge of it, you know, or something like that. It's
tough to criticize. Like, I don't know. It's weird to review like a children's movie as adults, because in my head, sometimes I'm watching these films and I'm like, I didn't really like that. And it's like, well, it's because I'm 33 and this movie wasn't meant for me. Like, me going in with a critical eye and being like, oh, I don't know, like the line didn't work, you know, it feels a little silly to me sometimes. But other times, like, I watch some other movies that are meant for kids and I'm just like, that was incredible. Like, they did such a good job. So sometimes I feel justified and I feel fine watching children's movies like this and being able to criticize them and be like, no, like, I think American Tail has some great things in it, but overall it wasn't that impressive to me. And I feel okay saying that.
I don't know why this was such a subtle little choice that they made for Fievel, and I found it really effective. But it kind of blew my mind that every time Fievel screams, he screams like a little girl or like a little like 4-year-old. He's so young and innocent. I feel like the screaming that they made the character do it was just a good idea. It's kind of annoying.
I was trying to pin his age and I was thinking 5.
Yeah. Sounds about right. The most like transformative year of your life.
No, yeah, and his mouth is always like really weird, like, like really strange looking.
It was Don Bluthy.
One thing I think they did really good in terms of the kids and the voice actors they picked for them and making it feel really authentic. It's kind of got a same vibe as like Bluey. Like, lots of times when they're doing voice acting for Bluey, the two main actresses there, they just kind of let them go and they're like, all right, we're going to animate around what they say and things like that. And in this movie, they felt like kids, they sounded like kids. I especially like the fact that when they were singing and, you know, for all the musical parts of this film, I feel like lots of times they weren't hitting their notes. You know, it wasn't this like pitch perfect, you know, we want to get a really strong singer in order to get this, you know, sounding perfect. It's like, no, we're going to let these kids sing and it's going to sound like kids singing. And that just felt nice and authentic.
I have throughout my notes, I was just taking, I have a flex counter every time Don Bluth was flexing with his astounding art and I'll just go through my list. Okay, animating the snow in the opening credits. That must have sucked, but it looked really good. And I was like, oh, it's interesting that they animated all the snow around the letters, but in the background, it's like a real snowflake that they like filmed. And anyways, I thought that was cool. Don Bluth loves ropes. I wrote that down. When they're climbing on the rope, they just love animating ropes and strings in all these movies we've been watching.
Same from Secrets and Nim. He loves his
Yep.
rope.
Yep. I thought it was a total flex when Fievel jumps on that dangerous bar of soap and he's like sliding through the sliding through the boat. I thought that was cool. The sea demon was amazing, and in fact, I read that that was actually shortened. It was supposed to be a little bit more violent and just like intense. Spielberg wanted it shortened, so they did that. But that part was cool. The glimmering reflections in the bottle when he sees New York, the bubbles in the bubble bath, the Edison Victrola, like the old record player from 1885. I'm just like, dude, great detail in that.
So much detail.
Yeah. When Warren what's the gangster, the cat dressing like a rat?
Yeah, his name's Warren. I can't remember what his last name is, but I know it's Warren.
When he takes his fake nose off and his fake ears and his ears like unfurl, I was like, dude,
Yeah.
I don't know. Really good.
What a flex.
I'll just run through these real quick. I have more, but there's a part where Dom DeLuise's Tiger, when he's singing that song, and then out of nowhere, Fievel just comes in and starts tickling him. That was a really sweet little detail. The firemen hooking up their water hoses when they're putting out the fire. That was really good. The Statue of Liberty, when they're flying around it and it's doing like a full, like, dude, that was really impressive.
So yeah, there's a couple of things, and they did it in Secret of Nim for one of the cages, I think, as well. I think it's like they filmed a live action thing and like traced it, rotoscoped it or something like that. Like they blew out the color and it's like an actual live action object. It's like pre-CG like flex on animation right there. Like in this one when he's in the cat's lair and he's inside the bird cage, the bird cage was slightly rotating back and forth, and you could just see like perfect perspective, and they animated Fievel in that. Yeah, the weird creature that they built to scare off the cats, that's another thing that they built, filmed, and then like rotoscoped in for thing. Like it feels to me like when Rare made Donkey Kong Country and they CG rendered all of the sprites, and everyone was like, this game looks so good, you know, because it wasn't hand-drawn pixel art, it was like 3D rendered objects as sprites at that point. It just feels like they pushed beyond the limitations of the technology without like sacrificing on the quality of it as well.
Yeah. I only had one more flex, and it was when they light the kerosene lights fire.
Oh, freak. Yeah.
Dude. Yeah. Multiple spots where I'm just like, okay. Yeah.
That was actually the only time in the whole movie where I felt like, oh no.
Yeah.
It was like, like everything, like everyone was down at the end of the pier, and Fievel was like knocked out inside the Bizarro place or whatever still, and then the kerosene went off. I was like, oh, this is bad. Oh no, how is this? It was the Toy Story 3 ending moment for me. Like, how is he gonna get out of this?
My favorite flex, or one of them also, is at the very end, like after the credits, this feather like floats down and it goes Don Bluth. Ding. And I was like, nice. Just like the cherry on top. Yeah, it was good.
Did you guys feel like the animation in this film was more softer or more, I don't know, it felt a little more fluffy than Secrets of Nim to me. Like I felt like Secrets of Nim was a lot more, realistic isn't the right word, but a little more mature feeling. Like I feel like, because they're both mouse movies, so we can kind of compare those characters together. I feel like with like Mrs. Brisby, like her nose was a lot more farther out. Her eyes weren't round. It was a little more, you know, like the shape of a mouse eye. I don't know, like Secret Sim just felt a lot more hard, and this one and American Tail feels a lot more soft to me personally.
No, I think you're right. Yeah, to me, like I think of like Secrets of Nim was like a little more gritty, I guess.
Yeah,
like less refined.
I feel like American Tail, like their eyes are bigger, kind of a thing. You know, it's like all of a sudden they were like, oh wait a minute, we can make their eyes round.
Great big anime eyes.
Yes, exactly. More round eyes instead of more like almond shape. I guess that's another shape I could say that eyes are. But like this feels like a Don Bluth movie, but I felt like he softened it up after Secrets of Nim didn't get as big as a reception as he hoped it would be. and he kind of leaned a little more into like the Disney type of thing, where it's like, okay, we need to make them a little more playful, a little more, appealing to kids.
I would guess that was more of like a Spielberg influence, kind of
Yeah,
getting into Don Bluth's ear and be like, hey, dude, like this isn't Disney, but we do gotta kind of like take that scene out. It's a little scary.
even your comment about him having to shorten the wave monster animation, which I thought was one of my favorite parts of the whole film. I think that evidence that you put up, I think I could get along with that. I will say though, I do love when animators turn like trees or nature into monsters. It's like I realized that when I was watching this film, when that wave turn was like a Poseidon or whatever, just like throwing waves at them, I was like, whoa! I forgot how much I love this. Like think like Snow White running through the woods after the huntsman tries to kill her, and the trees are like reaching out and trying to grab her. The logs turn into alligators, things like that. Like I really like when
It's
they do
almost
that.
like a visual allegory that you can really only do in film. That's pretty cool. So I'm going to read you a section from the autobiography because it's relevant to this. So this is when a little bit of context. So Don Bluth he got hired at Disney when he was like 18 years old. He worked there for a little bit, and then he just out of the blue decided he was going to serve his mission for its church. So he served a mission for 2.5 years at the time. He came back from Argentina, and then he didn't go back to Disney for like 14 years. And in that time, he like ran a bunch of studios and theaters and stuff with his brothers. And he worked as a night guard at a Tootsie Roll factory and all sorts of stuff. He went to BYU and got a degree in English, which he hated to read. And so he got a degree in English so that he'd be able to write good stories as opposed to going and getting an art major. Felt like all the art majors were insufferable. He couldn't stand them. So he came back to Disney. He's still kind of a wonder kid, but he worked his butt off to get there. But like, he's really one of the best animators, especially for being as young as he was. But he was about 30 years old when he went back to Disney. So then he was put on working on Robin Hood. So he said, I was thrilled when I heard that my first animation scene in Robin Hood was one showing Robin working his way along a ledge of the castle toward Prince John's bedroom. I spent hours flipping the pages up and down, checking and rechecking the movement. Then I finally sent my masterpiece to the cinema operator to get filmed. Finally, it was ready for Wooly and the other animators to review, his boss. As he gazed at the screen, watching my scene unspooling through the moviola, he said nothing. Then he methodically backed the film up and ran the scene through again. Then he turned and looked at me for a long moment. The 5 veteran animators grinned. They knew it was coming. Well, Wooly began, I'm quite disappointed. I shrank to the size of a pea. Yes, sir, I began, ready to tell him I'd redo the scene. But he wasn't done, not by a long shot. I expected so much more from you, he continued. You've made the fox move all right, but he has no attitude. It's not entertaining. I want to see what the fox is thinking while he's sneaking around that ledge. Do you understand? Oh, yes, sir, I'll have it for you tomorrow, sir. Breathlessly, I ran into the men's room, leaned close to the mirror, and chose my words carefully. I am the best animator in the entire world. My animation is the most entertaining of all. He talks about multiple times of just looking at his work or being criticized of his work being too stiff. So then he tries to make them more entertaining. And then he got so much praise for Pete's dragon, which is just the most bouncy, entertaining character ever, that I feel like he just overleaned into that and that became his signature style. And I almost feel like it's an overcompensation. As he like didn't quite dial it back right.
Yeah.
Right. One of those like, yeah, I need to go farther. I need to, from what I think I need to do, go a step farther just to make sure that I make them as entertaining as possible.
Yeah. I mean, every character is always moving, thinking with their face or a character.
Or their body or their ears or their whiskers.
Or someone, not even the main character or someone in the background is always, they're doing something. There's never a character that's just sitting there like one frame, like stuck. That's really cool though. But I see what you mean about overcompensating. They kind of just like, they don't need to lick their lips. They're going to be
all the time.
Not everyone needs to be a mouth breather. All right.
So another fun little tidbit from the book that we've talked about multiple times on the show. So he goes in, he's talking to his boss again, because he's being put like as an art director on Robin Hood. So he's getting like promoted up the ranks because they're trying to groom him to take over Disney Studios, like be in charge of it all. and he's like kind of pushing back against that and stuff, but they keep basically promoting him and giving him more and more responsibility. And so anyway, he's like, oh, and another thing, he said, there's a dance scene between Maid Marian and Robin Hood that will be in the finale of the movie. Remember the dance sequence in Snow White, the one in the cottage with the dwarves? Check that scene out of the morgue, copy the action, turn Snow White into Maid Marian. Yes, sir. As I started to open the door. Oh, that thing that we've talked about and criticized, like Disney copying past animations and reusing movements and stuff like that. Like that was just like top down, and Don Bluth's the one that did it.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Hey, everybody, just popping in real quick. If you could hit that like and subscribe button, that would really help us out a lot. But either way, let's get back to the show. Let's see. I wanted to talk about the songs in this movie real quick. Just to go through them. There's not a ton, but there's a couple there. So we have No Cats in America. I would say it's a fun song, and every now and then I think that line in my head. It's pretty forgettable. I do like the fact that you can kind of think of it as like, let's see, like saying No Cats in America feels a little more like we can go to America and everyone's on an even playing ground. That's kind of what they think. Like there's no upper class to stop us or to stop us from living our dream. And so I think there's a little bit of a deeper thought into what that song is actually trying to say, but it's not a very catchy song for me anyways. But let's see. Then there's Never Say Never. That one was actually stuck in my head for a long time. Yesterday when I heard it, I was just like humming it.
Is there anything? I mean, do you remember anything else from that song other than My Little Soda Pop? Oh, sorry. Do you remember anything else?
I will say this: listening to this music, I was like, they haven't figured out the formula. They haven't figured out the earworm, like to like stick it in your head like they do nowadays. But no, I don't remember too much about it. I just remember the French bird singing it with him. And then there's Somewhere Out There, and I know Ren had a very emotional moment listening to this, if I'm remembering correctly.
I was with Harrison the other day, and I just kind of like threw out a teaser about how I was feeling about this movie. Okay, so I'm going to be really transparent. I'm probably going to cry talking about this. So there wasn't a single song in the movie that like made me feel that much. You know, I like the Somewhere Out There part kind of, but like you said, like he can't hit the notes. It's just kind of funny. Like, so the movie ends and the credits start rolling, and the most 1986 thing about this movie is the closing song. It's Somewhere Out There, but it's the Linda Ronstadt version, which apparently, like, there was a huge crossover success with that song. It hit like #2 on the Billboard. Like a massive hit came out of basically covering a song from this movie, but having Linda Ronstadt sing it. And dude, I've listened to it like 30 times.
Okay,
like
the tears are real, guys.
I'm obsessed with it, dude.
It happened. The tears are real.
I've been crying listening to it. I sent it to you. I was like, listen to this and don't cry. Like, I freaking dare you to try. And there must have been like a memory that came up, because like I'm sure this movie, I feel like I zoned out in the last half hour of the movie, but the VHS was still playing in the house. So when the credits rolled, this song was just playing. And dude, it has freaking destroyed me. And I'm like, is this seasonal depression?
Wow.
Is this nostalgia? Like, what is this? Like, the song's okay. Like, it's just like,
oh my gosh,
so good.
Is this just reminding? Is it just bringing you back to Grandma's house? Is that what it is?
I don't know, dude. I don't know, but I've been really emotional in this song. And also, they're at 2 minutes and 15 seconds. There's this like insane guitar solo, and it's not like that good, but it's just like when it hits, I'm like in my car, just like, oh
like,
man,
yes, go.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm not gonna cry talking. Yeah, so.
I want you to call your therapist up right now and just be like, okay, can you hypnotize me? Can you like pull it out of my head? I gotta know why.
Hey, everyone should listen to the Linda Ronstadt version. Somewhere Out There, Linda Ronstadt. I think James Ingram is also featured on it. But dude, it's so funny. I went on to ChatGPT or whatever, Gemini, and I was like, give me more songs like this. And dude, I found like 10 songs that are ridiculously good based off of ChatGPT's recommendations off of Somewhere Out There by Linda Ronstadt. Like I went so deep down this rabbit hole. Dude, I want to be transparent. I really like that song. But
I'm
not
glad, Ram.
anything in the movie. But James Horner's soundtrack, I mentioned that. It's pretty good. But yeah, the single.
There you go. It's all about the single, man, especially at the end credits. There is definitely a stretch of movies in our lifetime where they're like, all right, we just need to put a bitchin' song in the credits and we'll win something because of that. Like it's gonna be great.
That's like a movie trend that I don't think is as popular, but like
No.
it's like, all right, have someone else do it and like make it a legit song and see what happens.
What was it, the one I always listen to is I think it's at the end of Beauty and the Beast. They do a duet.
Yes,
I don't know who
exactly.
I don't know who sings it, but man, like it comes on and Jamie's like, all right, the movie's over, let's turn it off. I'm like, dude, we're witnessing something incredible here. Like, let it roll. It's gonna be so good.
Do you remember when they used to play songs like this in the grocery store? Like I used to just hang out in the grocery store and listen to the music because I was like, yeah, tales that old as time.
Yeah, there was a period where Disney music was like
The shit.
Yeah, and it was like played like all over. And now it's like not as cool, but
Now we play Abercrombie and Fitch music.
yeah.
Oh God. Okay, so I've kind of hit on the plot lines of the story, just don't really jive with me. But I will say one clever thing that they did is they did just a little bit of foreshadowing in this movie, and I always appreciate that. When Papa is telling them a bunch of stories after he's given out the gifts for Hanukkah and everything, he talks about two things. He talks about Rapunzel. I don't think he says Rapunzel, but Rapunzel letting her hair down and, bring up the prince and everything. And then he talks about, I can't remember what it is, but he talks about a big giant mouse of some sort. And both of those elements pop up later in the movie. You got when Feifel goes to that like work sweatshop for literally like a minute, by the way. I thought that was the weirdest, like little divergent thing. It was just like, okay, I'm putting in this sweatshop, and it doesn't show him working or anything. It just fades to that night. And then he's like, oh, hey, my dad told me this story. And he ties a bunch of bed sheets together, and then they just throw it out the window and they all just escape. Like, it's no big deal. And then the great big mouse that just connects. So I was super confused that they were like, okay, we need a plan in order to get rid of the cats. And then Feifel like whispers something. They're like, that's a great plan. Let's do it. And then they start making this giant monster. And I was like, wait, how did Feifel come up with this? Like, this is actually his plan? I was like, okay, it's the story that his dad told him at the beginning. All right, there's something, but.
That's the huge part of the movie where the drop-off begins for me. Just like, yeah, this is like...
As soon as that those two politician people start talking, I'm just like,
yeah,
okay. Like, I don't really care about you.
Honest job and the Mewage priest.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
No, like, I think that's part of it is I feel like this movie almost has too many characters. Like, there's so many of these little side characters, like Bridget, like Bridget, it's like, so Bridget, the two politician ladies, people, I feel
Even
like
Tony.
Even Tony, it's just like, I don't care about them. Like, honestly, I wish we got more time with Papa and the mom, like, and the sister. Actually, they barely get any screen time. Like, I feel like they had an hour long, and they were like, okay, we have to fit 10 characters into here, and we need to give them enough, even amount of screen time. And it's like, but it's not enough for any of them, basically.
I wonder whose brainchild or pet project this was, because Spielberg's the one had been pitching it for years. And nobody wanted to pick it up. And then it was Don Bluth who picked it up as kind of like a middle finger to Disney. And I think he was proud of the end result based on what I've read so far. Spielberg didn't write the script. Don Bluth didn't write the script. I think it was Kirchner. It was like, was it Kirchner's baby? Like who's the one that was like, this movie needs to be this way?
Okay, real quick, is Kirchner like one of those authors that wrote a book 500 billion years ago that's like, oh, everyone needs to read this? It's a Kirchner. Like, it sounds like a name that would be like a really important like author in my head anyways, but I know he's not, but.
He's done an Dreamer of Oz, Hocus Pocus 1 and 2, this movie, and The Page Master. So.
Hey, Page Master is okay. So he is a really important writer. Okay, got it.
Page Master.
It's the Page Master, guys. I love that movie. So good.
Wait, is Page Master a Don Bluth movie?
It is not.
I haven't been seeing that come up in our Don Bluth deep dive searches. But it feels really Bluthy to me.
It does.
It does have a Bluethy feel to it, actually. Now that you say that, interesting.
Don't be fooled by your memories of that movie too. I tried to rewatch it and I like turned it off. Like,
really?
my memories are fine.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I was like,
see-
dude, this movie's gonna be sick. Christopher Lloyd's in it, and I was like, this is a nothing burger for sure.
No, see, I love that film. Like, I
Right up
literally
there with
like,
Blue.
yeah, exactly. No, probably like 2 times a year. I remember them being like, they were like, "Doctor, like, are you okay? Is everything okay?" And he goes, "My name's Mr. Hyde."
Oh, yeah.
Like, I remember,
Yeah.
I just
Oh,
think
that's
that
from the
a couple times a
Pagemaster?
year. Yeah. Because they go see Dr. Jekyll and then he turns into Mr. Hyde. It's a good
I'll be
moment.
honest, I thought that was from League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh, dude, we need to watch that movie. That's a good one. Let's see. Just to go through my notes here, I hate the crop top that the cats wear. I really do not like that. Like Tiger's like it barely covers his chest. Like you know what's weird? Tiger's on the cover of the VHS cover, and I don't know why, because he's barely in this movie. Like that was the one thing I was watching it and I was like, wait, like when does the cat show up? Because I know he's in this. I know he has a bigger part in Five Goes West, but I expected him to have a slightly bigger role in this one, and he just never showed up for so long.
Yeah, Dom DeLuise is 0 for 2 so far on this Don Bluth deep dive.
Yeah,
Like,
he's the Crow, right?
Yeah, Jonathan the Crow, and now Tiger. No thanks.
I will say I did kind of like their song Duo. I thought that was a fine song. I did like the fact that when they were in the reflection, they were the same height throughout it. And it kind of had a nice little like, hey, like, you know, it's kind of that Fox and the Hound thing where it's like, yeah, it's like the Fox and the Hound vibe where it's like, hey, there's a nature thing supposed to be happening here, but we're gonna bypass that and we're gonna care about each other. It doesn't matter, you know, who we are. This movie, I guess you could call it a Christmas movie, but it's really a Hanukkah movie. Connected to that actually. So this movie dropped sometime near Christmas, and McDonald's put out their toys for this movie, and they were Christmas stockings with Fievel characters on it. I was like, that's funny.
They're like merchandising. Christmas stockings, the American tale.
God, that's what it is. That's what it is. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Okay, I will say this. I think Don Bluth knows how to make things look miserable. I feel like he does a really good job of setting the tone and the environment and making you feel the way the characters are feeling in the environment they're in. Because watching that whole ship scene, like, you know, there's all that hope and excitement getting on it, and literally like the next scene, it's like, wow, they look miserable, and I feel miserable watching them. And then that like giant rain cloud just comes out of nowhere and just dumps just on the ship. It's not like everything's raining. It's like, no, one rain cloud.
That was the most Lego movie thing. It was so funny. I was like, yes, I appreciate that. I forgot about that. Thanks for bringing that up.
That's so good. And then that rain cloud comes and there's water all in the boat, and I'm just like, this sucks. Like, this just looks terrible. And I'm sorry, like, I don't know. It's a mixture of, I love that they put this in the movie, but there's so much anger behind it when Fiefel's like, oh, my hat, I have to go get my hat. And then he throws it up top. I'm like, that is the most real child justification moment ever. Like, yeah. I know I did that at some point. I know kids have done it where it's like, oh my gosh, I have to go do it. You know,
that is my child
right there.
My middle child does that.
If you guys want to take a little detour to Ren's history corner, I do have some historically accurate things about this film.
Oh, all right. I want to hear it.
Yeah, there's just a few things, but the cause of immigration, the Mauskowitz family are Russian Jews fleeing the pogroms, which were violent anti-Semitic riots that surged across the Russian Empire, particularly after the assassination of Tsar Alexander II in 1881. The cats in the film are a direct allegory for the Cossacks, a military group notorious for carrying out these attacks. Just to give some background as to why the cats were running through the town.
Yeah, they actually, well, they scream out that the Cossacks, they actually scream that out when the raid starts. I remember hearing about that.
Oh, you're right. They do that. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, they actually do say it. And what, you actually see a guy get shot and killed. Like, you don't see him actually getting
Absolutely.
shot. You see a gun go off and then he falls to the ground. And I was like, whoa, that's kind of intense.
Ah.
Also, during that scene, it's actually almost identical to the scene in Secret of Nim when Dragon first shows up. The background turns into that kind of orange, kind of like fire burning in the background kind of vibe about it when the Cossack cats are coming in and tearing everything up and they're burying under the snow. Props to Feifel, by the way. Like, legitimately, I think the best character moment Feifel has is when they come in to attack and Feifel runs out the door with a pot and a spoon and he's just banging on it, trying to make them go away. I was like, dude, like, go you. Like, you're just a kid and you're just, going for it. I appreciate that about him.
But yeah, the immigrant journey. I just liked how in the film they included like the Jewish, Russian, the Italians, and the Irish people just all like coming
Mhm.
together. And I love the guy who renames Fievel Philly. He's basically like Rocky, like a young Rocky, just like, hey, yo, what's going? I thought that was kind of funny. But also, giving people nicknames is also, that's a historically accurate fact that they put into this movie. They would just kind of do that.
Call them whatever.
Yeah, name changing.
What was it, that moment that they're, they just land, they're going through the immigration, documenting everything. And the mouse is like, all right, what's your name? And he gives him his name and he's like, all right, Mr. Smith. Because he's like, I don't want to write that long of a name down. I was like, ooh, like that kind of hit, like just having your identity changed, like just like that.
The sweatshops, kids were exploited for low wage labor, dangerous working conditions all the time. So that's pretty heavy. The Statue of Liberty. This is the like main thing I had to look up. But one of the film's best historical details, the Statue of Liberty is shown under construction.
And it's copper.
Yeah, and with a bright reddish brown copper color. The statue was only disassembled and shipped to New York in 1885, the year the film was set, and was not dedicated until 1886. The famous green patina or oxidation didn't fully develop until after 1900. So they kind of got it right, but yeah, a little bit off on the timeline. And then there was something interesting about just like the crooked bosses, like the Warren T. Rat, and then the corrupt politicians. Honest John is a possible caricature of a character named William M. Tweed, who was basically just like a corrupt historical politician guy. And he would fake votes, and he does that in the show as well. And just, yeah, ghost votes, yeah.
Dude, when he wrote that down, I saw his list. I was like, that is, wow, that does not make me feel good. I do not like that at all. Like,
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Yep.
There's a dead mouse on the table. Tradition.
Yep.
It's
Oh my
tradition.
God.
Don't worry about it. What was it? Another super depressing moment in this film was his sister. I can't remember her name at the moment, but she's like, I feel like Fiefel's alive. And her parents say, trust me, that feeling goes away. I was just like, dang, like that hit. That's just so sad. And actually, if you watch that scene, the parents, their coloring, like their actual animation coloring is way darker and way more like less vibrant. And his sister is way more bright and hopeful. It's a really cool little visualization. I watched that clip before I came up here. It's really cool.
So I think what's most interesting about this story choice is there is nothing happy about this story, like at all.
Yeah, I mean, until they reunite.
But even then, that's not the point of. I mean, like, what's the point of the movie? Like,
It's a cop out.
it's like the movie was, let's show this historical period. Let's put a little like kind of trail of a story where you follow this really innocent kid through time that just experiences it all as this passive kind of person that just basically gets beat up by horrible events, right? Over and over and over. And then like wrap it into a kid's movie. It's like they didn't pull the punches at all. And they put it in a kid's movie and tried to kind of dress it up like it's a kid's movie. So it's like, it didn't have the power of like, I don't know, Life is Beautiful or something like that, or Schindler's List or something like that, because it was a kid's movie, but it had all of the same like deep, horrible, like, let's be introspective and not do this and learn from our past kind of vibe that those other like made by Jewish people about their history movies have done. So it's like this movie is powerful without being good. And like I don't really know like what I think of that. Like, was this a failure in that regard, or was it good and because it's bad? Or like like what were they trying to do, and did they succeed? And I don't know if they I kind of feel like they did succeed at what they were trying to do, and they were trying to like sneak it under people's radar or something.
No, okay. I would say they succeeded. I don't think they did a very I don't think this movie did a very good job though, but I think it's also this sounds so rude, but it's like there's not really a lot of competition in this field like at the time. Like it's because this is such a unique story and a heavy story inside of a children's movie, and I feel like around that time they weren't talking about, stories about immigration and about the suffering they went through and the hope that they had coming over here and now it's gone. Like other movies weren't really talking about that, especially in the lens of kids watching the film. And I think part of the reason it didn't work, like I feel like I said, I talked about there's all these little offshoot storylines, and even some of them are like positive things. Like when Tommy like meets Bridget and there's that like sequence of them like kind of being like, oh, like you're so pretty, and like, giving them each other eyes. You're just kind of watching and you're like, okay, what, like, why is this here? Like, I don't care about Tony. We just met Bridget. I don't know who really she is. I just know she's advocating for trying to get rid of cats. That's all I know. And so it's those little storylines and offshoot stories that just kind of deter from the main message of the film to me.
I wrote down that the happy ending is just a massive cop out, because like the reunion with Fievel meeting up with his family, that's like the only good part of like happy part of the movie. But then it ends on this, when they're flying around the Statue of Liberty, and then Lady Liberty looks at them and gives them a wink. But like it undermines the core message, and they're disillusioned because they're still cats. Immigration struggles still happen to this day. Like nothing was resolved, but they're just like, it's sort of just like ignorance is bliss, I guess, because nothing really changed.
No, it's true. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, hey, we solved the immediate problem. Like the immediate problem was there was cats here, and now there's less cats here. And it's like, okay, so we solved a very, very tiny problem that was occurring in this film.
And so if Fievel hadn't gotten lost and their family had just come over and gone through all of the experiences, would there have been any positive thing at the end of the movie? If you didn't just basically like create the event that Fievel is presumed dead by his family for a reunion to occur, like, is there anything to this movie other than holy crap, that's a really dark, mature story for a kids movie?
Yeah, so basically the ending of the film would be them getting rid of the cats. That would be the penultimate moment of like, yes, we succeeded. And it's like, that's not impressive. Like this is one of those films that it's like, okay, what, like let's fast forward 1 week in the movie. What's happening? What are the parents doing? Oh yeah, they're still stuck in a really crappy situation.
Chairs and empty tables, and my friends will sing no more. Like, all right, Russian Revolution, French Revolution, we're good.
Yeah, it's like you got rid of Warren T. Rat and his henchmen, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's about it.
And you're in New York. There's a billion other cats.
This isn't going to go anywhere, but I found it kind of interesting, the fact that when they were over in Russia, the cats over there were very evil, very scary, very intense. And when they came over to America, they almost like, I don't know, they turned them a little more comical, a little more like mustache twirling evil type of cats. I don't know why. Maybe that's just to soften it up and make them leaving Russia a lot more impactful and give it a stronger reason for them to leave.
So the Russian cats aren't Nazis.
No. Well, like, I mean, you can kind of put that layer on them. You can, but they are, but technically they're not representing them.
Yeah, anti-Semitic. Okay.
Yeah, it's more of an anti-Semitic type of a thing.
So the cats in New York are like the mafia.
Yeah, an equivalent.
Okay, yeah,
sure,
I can see that. Okay. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's a lawless mob rule.
Yeah,
right.
I'm just trying. Like, there are parts of the movie where the humans are kind of mirroring what the mice are doing. Like when they're checking in and getting their names, and they're like, "How many?" And he's like, 5. I mean 4. And then like there's another scene where they're doing the slave labor, and then it shows the people like knitting stuff too, and there's just like a mirror image of what's going on.
Right. Well, yeah. I honestly, like, I'm glad they didn't put more scenes like that in.
Yeah.
because I think there was maybe 3 scenes where they did kind of a direct comparison between what's going on with humans and what's going on with the mice. If they put in a 4th one, I know I would have been like, okay, we get it. like we don't need to see this over and over again. Because even the 3rd one, I think was when, they're in the sweatshop, like you were saying, and the ladies were sewing. Even when that 3rd one happened, it was like, okay, like I get it. Like you don't need to tell me again that this is what's happening in real life. But okay, Ren, I'm doing one of yours.
Well, hold on, Harry. I gotta interrupt you.
Oh.
The credits are rolling. I need to turn the music up.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, get your tear bucket up.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, put in 5 seconds of the song during the edit.
Copyright.
So here's my little theory. Okay, Henry, the bird that's building the French bird, he's the bad guy of the whole film. Okay, he's the bad guy.
I don't get it at all, but go ahead.
He's Snokes.
Okay, so he picks up this immigrant kid. He sings a song, makes him feel comfortable, makes him feel good. Then he's like, "Hey, I'll take you to your family." And where does he take him? He drops him off literally, basically in Warren's lap, who is taking immigrant kids and putting them in the sweatshop. So I think Henry, the French bird, is picking up these kids and feeding them into Warren, and he's getting a cut of the profits.
That he's using to buy the Statue of Liberty one piece at a time so he can build.
Exactly. And it's all a disguise. And look, I'm just saying, he also has 4 very colorful, very big-breasted birds just hanging around him all the time. So Henry's a pimp. Like it's just straight up. Like there's nothing you can say to dissuade me. But I think Henry's the bad guy.
I'm in. No argument.
I'm in.
Headcanon established.
Boom. One of my last notes, I'd also be interested to watch this movie. I think a good double feature with this would be Great Mouse Detective, because if I'm recalling correctly, both these movies came out in the same year, and it's very mouse-centric movies. And if I'm recalling correctly, I haven't seen Great Mouse Detective in a long time, but if I'm remembering correctly, one of the main characters is looking for their parents. I'm not sure if that's right, but I feel like they're looking for the parents. That's what Feifel's doing in this thing. So I think it'd be interesting to watch both of them, because in my head, Great Mouse Detective is a very, very, very good movie. And American Tail, I'm glad it exists, but it's not one of my favorite films. So I just wonder what's the difference between them, and what did Disney get right with Great Mouse Detective, and what did American Tail not get right?
So, Harrison, in the past, the reason you picked this theme this month of Don Bluth is you had this idea that Don Bluth was holding to standards that were being kind of squandered or swept under the rug over at Disney, and he wanted to flex and keep old animation correctly or alive. So there's a section in the book here where I read through the section where he ran into all the creative differences while he was the art director on Fox and the Hound, and left the studio. And there's a section in here that I wanted to read because I think it's really interesting, because I know who these people are. He was starting to be promoted, like I was talking about earlier. He's working as an art director and stuff on all these different movies. And he was also training these new recruits that were the new interns basically at Disney, and bringing them up on the ropes. At the same time, Disney was starting to cut costs, and they were cutting costs because traditional animation is unsustainable. So they were trying to find ways to make it profitable again. And so there was just a lot of suits at Disney that were starting to micromanage stuff. And there were a lot of people with a lot of ideas coming up the ranks on how to make animation exciting or more accessible or whatever. So I'm going to read this. Meanwhile, the newest trainees in the downstairs bullpen had their own ideas about the future of the studio. The bullpen housed talented kids just brought in from CalArts, the Disney-sponsored institute that had installed a curriculum to train animators. These students had dreams of their own, and not necessarily in the tradition of hand-drawn animation. John Lasseter was already experimenting on his own time with computer animation. Brad Bird was pushing for more contemporary stories, while Tim Burton favored the darker tales, colored with bits of horror. They were labeling the classical Disney style of drawing as old-fashioned. They were already planning what kinds of films they would like to make when the quote-unquote old guard retired. At 36, I was viewed by the CalArts rebels in the bullpen as part of that old guard and a roadblock to their future plans. By the way, have you noted that all those guys who were so vehemently opposed to me also left Disney to form their own studios? I find that interesting.
That is interesting. I like that. Now, it's really rough because yeah. So I chose Don Bluth because I felt like he had some great story ideas, and I feel like he pushed those stories. He had the stories, and he wanted to tell them. And I feel kind of bad that we've watched two of them, and both of them haven't really hit hard. Like I haven't ranked either. I'm not going to rank either of these a 4 or up for me personally. I think it's just one of those things where it's like I'm grateful for what he did, just by the standards of movies that I've watched and what I enjoy. They just don't hit those marks. But I'm so glad that they're around. Like in no way would I want to be like, nah, Secrets in them wasn't worth watching or being existed. And same with American Tail. Like honestly, like we're gonna get into our slimy scenes and everything, but like this movie's pretty low on my rankings. But I'm glad that it exists because kind of like what I said before, like it's a story that I wanted to be told, and there was no other animation studio telling a story like this at that time. So I'm glad he stuck to it and went for it, even if it didn't land on the positive side of a film that I really enjoy. And I'm just one guy, and I'm like I said previously, also I'm also just a 33-year-old dude, criticizing a children's movie. So
well, you bring up a good point. You bring up a good point because this movie is, it's about immigrants and being Jewish and it's about persecution, being persecuted for your beliefs and your.
Or just you were born, because you didn't even have to be like a practicing Jew to be a Jew.
Exactly. So he's taking swings of that. It also takes place in 1885, and like that's kind of different. And then you think of Secret of Nim, like becoming conscious and like doing like experiments in a mental health hospital. He's taking these big swings. You think about Land Before Time, dude, the freaking mom dies, and like there's this existential thing in that movie, and we haven't even got to All Dogs Go to Heaven and Titan AE. And I totally agree with what you're saying. I so appreciate that he does these, but I don't love any of these movies. But like there's things about it I'm like, dude, respect. Because Disney's watching what they're doing. And it's just kind of like everyone else who's not Don Bluth is seeing these little choices. And I feel like it just kind of inches things up over time. And he definitely added to the quality of storytelling, just getting better over time.
That is, I think what you said is the benefit of actual competition, like real competition in a free market like that can bring out the best in people, because you can't be stale. Mm-hmm. Because if you're stale, then someone's going to one up you in the ways that matter.
Yeah.
This is a really weird comparison, but it came to my head. Honestly, it's kind of like the Pokemon franchise right now. There's just their games are very stale, very stagnant. There's nothing very innovative about it. They can put out a game with really crappy quality in terms of graphics and things like that because they're like, well, we know people are going to buy it. And there's no other game out there that is like our game. So we don't have to push our standards. We don't have to break through the ceiling. We don't have to venture into new things. We just need to add a little gimmick into the game and make things just a little bit different, but we don't need to reach for the stars. To try and make something that is so significantly better than what we've done before to overshadow everyone else, because we're in such a specific, unique market. That's my little rant on Pokemon, everybody.
It's almost like what's going to be the Stardew Valley of Pokemon that just everyone goes, oh yeah, this is what we wanted from Harvest Moon forever and ever and ever. And Stardew Valley actually delivered.
Oh my God. Thank you for bringing up Harvest Moon. Dude, that game changed my life.
I'm pretty sure Harvest Moon 64 was the game that kind of unlocked my brain of being like, wait, okay, how can I do this the most efficient way possible? Okay. And then it started that thought process of working everything in grids. And that's why when I make lists, I always use a spreadsheet, instead of just anyways.
That game helped me realize that I'm definitely not into redheads.
There you go.
You can pick, you can pick from any of them. And I never went with the redhead. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Here, I'm gonna do my last note, then we can jump into our slimy scenes. Just my little small rant. I want to see a movie where a seagull isn't an idiot, because every time there's a seagull in a movie, they're always dumb. Like you got the mine seagulls and Dory.
Up, you're rats with wings.
You got the one Scully from Little Mermaid. He's an idiot. Like there's no smart, intelligent seagulls. But I think the world's ready for one, just one.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm gonna go with my slimy scene. I think it is when Feifel gives up, and then just that camera zoom out and showing all the lost and abandoned kids. Like that really stuck with me and made me just go, dang. I'll also stick on my little secondary one is when Feifel's sister is like, I think he's alive, and his parents are like, no, that feeling's gonna go away soon. Like that one, that would hit me in the soul a little bit as well. In terms of rating this film, it sounds so harsh to say it, but I think this is like a 2 for me. Like I feel like watching it, like, you know, basically the way I do my ratings in my head is I watch the film and then I start at 5 and I just go down until I feel comfortable. And I just kept landing like the 2 zone, maybe 2.5. And that's not to diminish what Don Bluth has put out, because I think this is a glass shattering movie where it's like, okay, like we can tell stories like this and you guys need to get up here with me. But overall, like this isn't a movie that I'm excited to watch again, or even to like push my kids like, hey, we should watch American Tail. Like that's probably not going to happen, because Jamie like 20% watched it with me and he was like, whatever.
Yeah, I wrote this down, but like the last 20 minutes is just, it feels so choppy and just like rushed. And then like Tiger gets fired, and then they're like, I don't know. It just fell apart at the end. Yeah, basically when like the crooked politician and that annoying lady like start getting the whole town involved to make the cat or the secret weapon, I just lost all attention. I'm having a hard time thinking of like the most slimy scene for me. I just can't stop thinking about the Linda Ronstadt song. So yeah, the slimiest thing about this movie is that song.
Probably the rain cloud dumping all the water on the boat.
Yeah, I
Just
mean
soap.
the ocean demon was pretty cool. I'll have to go with that one. I guess throughout the movie, I liked wondering about all the historical accuracy stuff, but that's just a me thing. But yeah, Linda Ronstadt has gone. She's like, I'm into her
Your queen.
right
Your
now.
queen now.
Yeah, she was a fox in her day. So I have to rate. I gave this movie a 3. Yeah, it fell flat. I liked Secret of Nim a little bit better, and Secret of Nim had a few more like mind-blowing animation scenes. Really great stuff in this, and I respect everything that he's doing. You know, telling the story of the immigration. It's respectable, but just yeah, didn't do it for me.
No, you know, honestly, like thinking of Secrets of Nim in this very moment right now, I think it's gone up. The more it's like settled inside of me, you know, just in my mind. It's raised up probably another half point for me in my head.
Yeah, I think I echo a lot of what you guys are saying. My slimiest scene was when Warren goes over, like he's just revealed as the cat, and he's like, well, fine. And, you know, and he walks up and he pulls out a match and he strikes it on his teeth and drops it in the cotton bin next to the house. I was like, that is the most evil, dark thing that anyone could do ever, right there. It's like, whatever. And he's like, the most like evil way to strike a match is like big snidely whiplash smile and a strike across his teeth. It's like, dang. So that was pretty slimy. Also, so the voice actress for Tony, her name is Pat Music. She is also a voice actress in the LucasArts point and click adventure game Full Throttle, made by Tim Schafer. And that's where I heard her voice the first time. It's the exact same, like, oh yeah, I'm Tony, you know, like it really like whiny, kind of weird, like New York kind of like
the Rocky sound alike?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, Tony the little fall in love with Bridget character.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Rocky. He's just like,
okay.
Hey,
Yeah.
what's he called? Hey, Philly, that's your new name.
So when Tony showed up, I mean, I knew that the voice actress was a gal, and so I was like, later when they like when Bridget and her and Tony are like mooning over each other, I was like, wait, I thought that was a girl. I had no idea that it was supposed to be like a little boy.
Scott, you were watching that like, wow, this is like way before its time. This is incredible.
This is definitely not 2025. What's going on here?
Dude, I'm willing to put $1 million bet that you're the only one who like You're like, that's the voice from that. Yeah, like only you spotted that. That is awesome.
That is pretty
But
impressive.
as far as a rating, I think I'm gonna go with a 2, maybe a 2.5. I don't think I could push up to a 3, but it's once again like the animation is so killer, and I know how hard they worked on it, and I know that there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that went into this movie and the financial troubles, and they upgraded their studio from his garage to an actual building during the making of Nim, so they weren't still in the garage, but they were, I mean, they were just like working nights and stuff like that, and they were all passion project. Like 17 people followed Bluth out of Disney. They were all just people that were sympathetic. He didn't ask them to come. They just all were like, "Oh, you're starting a studio? I'm in." And he's like, "Oh, okay." You know, he really wasn't like this instigator of trying to get people out of Disney to put the, you know, stick it to the man or anything. He was just like, I've been working with these 2 other guys, and they're all these really talented female animators that aren't getting the credit they deserve, and they want a chance to fly. And I mean, they're killing it in this movie, in these movies, with their skill. And I think that they're like any good indie studio, they're pushing the boundaries where it matters, and all of them are raw.
Yeah.
All the movies we've seen so far are very indie raw with like AAA quality.
Yeah. Do you guys feel more guilty giving low ratings to animated films than live action? Because I do.
I feel more guilty giving low ratings to movies that I know stuff about their development.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, it's because it's one of those things that's like, man, they really struggled and they really put in a lot of work, and they there's more frames per second in this film. Yeah, it's a 2 though.
I'm definitely give them an
nothing.
upper 1.
No, yeah, I've said this before, but like animated films, just they kind of have like that purposeful feeling that I love in movies. It's like baked in to animated films because
You can't improv anything.
Mhm.
You have to storyboard it all.
Yep.
well, guys, I think we're wrapped up with American Tail. Glad we watched it. And next week, we're doing All Dogs Go to Heaven, and we're going to do our movie categories.
Oh yeah. You better have your categories ready. Knowing you, Scott, you got them. You got at least one picked.
Wait. I thought we were just giving it to Ren.
No. I might veto your guys' choice, but you can't just give it to me. No, I'm just kidding. No, I like your guys' categories are gonna be just as good as mine. So yeah, it'll be fine. It's the luck of the draw.
You know, I was thinking about this like just now, and I was like, oh, I haven't seen All Dogs Go to Heaven, and I was like, oh, I haven't seen Titan 8. I haven't seen any of these movies that we're watching.
There you go. Expanding your mind.
I've played the crap out of Dragon's Lair, but I've never watched a single Don Bluth movie.
Had you seen Thumbelina or like?
No, I've watched Robin Hood, Winnie the Pooh, The Rescuers, things like that.
It's the Disney era.
I've watched his Disney movies, Fox and the Hound, you know, but I've never watched a Don Bluth Productions movie before. And this is kind of a world that I'm glad that I get to see.
Yeah, it is cool. I wanted to bring this up. I actually meant to bring this up earlier. I got this book from the library. Disney Animation, The Illusion of Life. This came out in 1981 or 82. And it's just chock full of everything that you could possibly imagine, all about Disney Animation, the crew, who worked on what film, all this stuff. But there's one name that is omitted from this entire book. How many pages are there? Like 500?
It's like a 300.
It's a 560-page book. There's one person whose name is not included in this book. Can you guess his name?
John
Is it Don
Lounsbury?
Bluth?
How'd you know? Don Bluth left the production of Fox and the Hound like the year this book came out, and he is not mentioned once. And I find that hilarious and really cool all at the same time. He's like blacklisted from Disney, like any Disney
I
mentions.
wonder if the 17 animators that followed are not mentioned in there, or if Gary Goldman's not in there.
Yeah,
or,
I forgot to look that up, but Gary, yeah, I looked in the back for his name. I was like, he's not in here at all. And I looked at the Fox and the Hound. It's really cool. They storyboard everything. They show you all the different layers of each animation and like how they film from the top, and it's unbelievable. But yeah, no mention of Bluth.
So the creative difference is he was the art director, and he was really trying to hold tight to traditional animation magic, as he was calling it. And all the people that were working on Fox and the Hound, it was like, this is the turning point where we kick out the old guard, is what they were trying to do. And both Don Bluth and all of the trainees, quote unquote, that were actually doing the in-betweens and stuff, they all independently went to the president of Disney, who was Ron Miller maybe at the time, and all of them complained about the others, and Don Bluth was the last one. He's like, I can't work with these guys anymore because everything I say, they fight me over. Everything. It doesn't even matter if we agree. They have to fight me and oppose me. He's like, interesting, because they all came in and said how much of an arrogant, like, old person that you were, and you didn't move at stuff. And he's like, I can't work with them as a director. Can I at least just be an animator on the movie and not direct? He's like, fine. And then he was animating for a bit, and they're just like, I can't. And he just left.
I'm out.
He walked. All right. With that, what a depressing story about Don Bluth and Russian Jew immigrants.
All right, guys. Yeah, I'm gonna get downstairs, get some food in me, and we'll catch you sometime soon. We'll talk about All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Peace, love, and monsoons.
Thanks for listening. Adios. Later,
Love you
Harry.
guys.
Thank you. Love you.
That's a wrap on another episode of Cinema Slime. We hope you enjoyed it. This episode was a production by your hosts, Harrison Jensen, Renn Jensen, and Scott Shepard. Harrison handles the mixing, editing, and production, and Renn, that's me, takes care of the art and design. Want to join the conversation? Let's connect. Find us on Discord for film discussions, movie recommendations, and everything cinema. Be sure to subscribe and leave a comment, and you can also connect with us on social media and show your support on Buy Me a Coffee, and we'll give you a shout out if you'd like. All links can be found in the episode notes.